Welcome to Another Cup, part of the Exchange Coffee Podcasting Network, presented by Covoya Specialty Coffee, where coffee is always a collaborative voyage. Another Cup is devoted to conversations with suppliers, customers, and all the relationships in between. In episode 5, coffee trader Todd Mackey talks with Samantha Romero, Specialty Coffee Coordinator for OFI in Peru, recorded at SCA in Portland in 2023.
Hi, my name is Samantha Romero. I am from Peru, currently living in Peru. I'm doing specialty coffee for you guys. I'm trying my best. Every year is a challenge.
For you guys, you mean?
You mean Covoya. You mean all of your partners.
Okay.
As we are your partners too.
Yes, of course. So you grew up in Peru?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about your family.
Of course. So I was born in Lima, but my family from my mom's side, I am third generation of a coffee exporting company. So I was basically born in this industry. My grandfather started that business. When he passed away 4 years ago, they named him the Coffee Czar. I was pretty honored to hear that about him. He started the coffee, let's say, business in Quillabamba, where they are from. This is 5 hours from Cusco City. They currently buy coffee from farmers there. They have over 300 farmers that they work with directly, providing technical assistance, quality control, and then sorting the coffees. And trying to get the best value out of the coffee they find. They also buy coffee from the center region. So that business was already existent when I was born. And I slowly, just organically leaned into that business. And I fell in love with coffee when I tried an Ethiopian coffee when I was 12 at an SCA. And I said, wow, I didn't know coffee tasted like this.
Wow. So you attended an SCA show at 12 years old?
Yep. That was my very first show.
And what city was that in?
This was in Charlotte.
Wow. And Rob Steven of Covoya, that was his show as SCA president?
I think so, yeah. Of course, I didn't know who he was at the time,
wow,
but thinking
small
back,
coffee world.
So weird.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay, so you had an unbelievable Ethiopian coffee. Do you remember anything about that coffee?
Well, not about the coffee, but the experience. We had a booth. It was with my mom, and it was weird because it's always in April, and in Peru in April, we are in school. So I could never attend, but for me, that one trip she did every April was hilarious because she would bring me like coffee stuff, like pins and whatever. So I always said, I want to come with you because it was the USA. So she said, okay, let's get you, let's sign a paper and let's get you in. So we came. And I was there attending, and I saw this gorgeous woman wearing this traditional Ethiopian dress. And I followed her because I needed to know where she was coming from. I didn't know it was Ethiopia. So she went to an Ethiopian booth, and they were brewing some on their well, now I know the traditional way of brewing coffee. And she saw me just peeking there. It was very close by my booth, of course. And she just handed in me a coffee and say, this is for you. So I took it, I sipped it, and it was like mind-changing, mind-blowing, mind everything.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that story. I can picture in a way, as you describe it, I know our listeners can't see your facial expressions, but the excitement is so distinct. It's like I can almost picture that happening. That's cool. So tell us a little bit more. I mean, you've obviously had a lot of experience within your family's work in the central that would be considered the central jungle area?
Central southern sort of, yeah.
Okay. And then, of course, you, as you came of adult age, what then did you choose to do with your coffee experience? What happened next? Where before returning to Peru?
So then a lot of years went by, and I would try and attend the show every year. Whenever I could, I came to help her basically on the English part because she was very self-conscious about speaking English and offering coffee. So I basically repeated whatever she was saying and not knowingly what she was saying. And then that's how people knew me in this industry, like Maritza's daughter from my casa. And so I started growing my own name and reputation because I started cupping. And I started cupping only because I wanted to do the whole sip and spit. And I thought it was so funny.
Fun.
Yes.
Okay.
And so I started my journey in the commercial side of coffee.
Okay.
And trying to find defects, and that's it. But then I took an origin trip where I went to learn about like post-harvesting processing, and I didn't know anything. And they started talking about naturals and honeys and everything. I was like, I didn't know you could do this with coffee.
Interesting.
And I was still in college at the time. And I took this knowledge back to our farmers and started doing some experiments with them in Quillabamba, and they also didn't know. Like, this was very like new information for them.
Yeah.
And cupping afterwards got much more sensitive, and I needed to know more. So I started attending more shows and getting to know more people in the business and learn more because I wanted to be able to give back to farmers, whatever. They were already doing a lot of things, trying to play with their coffee as per my instructions.
Okay.
So learning how to cup was the next big challenge. And then life just brought me to get more involved with coffee. I then traveled on my own to learn more, like doing a master's and whatever you do to get out of your country.
Okay. So you got a master's in coffee?
I did a master's in coffee with Ili Café in Trieste.
Okay.
And after that, I went back home. I did my thesis on post-harvesting processing with farmers in Quillabamba to increase their quality just by tweaking a little bit of the fermentation processes.
Okay.
And after that, I did an internship in a trading company in Milan. For a bit, I went back to Peru, kept on working with farmers. But then I decided that I didn't know enough about business in general. So I took a trip to Boston for another master's.
Okay.
But I think that was the pivot in my life because thanks to that 1 year studying here, I was able to connect with what is now Covoya. And that brought me to you guys in Providence.
How lucky we are. That's like a seminal moment in the history of Covoya Specialty.
You're too kind.
Tell us a bit more with the advent of your role at what was then Olam Specialty Coffee, now called Covoya, same company, of course. You worked with us in the U.S., the specialty trading desk for a time, and then you've had some adventures since then that lead you to this day. What have those been?
Those have been adventures. Every day a new challenge, like I said. I went to Nicaragua for a year to try and start the coffee specialty operations for Olam there because we only had a commercial operation. That was very interesting for both of us. I mean, me as coming from a trading desk, and then for Olam Nicaragua because they weren't doing that at all.
Yeah.
And they hadn't started anything on cupping side or nothing. So me going around farms, bringing the coffee, cupping everything, and doing the segregation of our farmers, the supply chains that we have there, was very interesting. Trying to make up the relationship you already have with certain suppliers. So it was very good, but then COVID hit, and that made everything very complicated.
Sure.
So I had to go back to Peru, but I stayed with Olam. And since Olam operations was also starting on the specialty side, it made a lot of sense for me to come and do that.
Of course.
And it's been almost 3 years now since that moment. And well, Peru as a country and origin for coffee has been very complicated in the past 3 years, precisely like a roller coaster. What we're trying to do with farmers is very genuine in that we're trying to give them back more value for what they're already doing good.
Yeah.
And for that, we need partners. And Covoya has been, before as Olam Specialty Coffee, now as Covoya has been that reliable partner that we all see from origin, like Peru with me, or Catalina in Colombia, or Chemi in Mexico. Like, you are, and will always be more than just partners. You are our friends. And what I like about the relationship we have built is that the transparency and that we can send you something and we get the immediate feedback as you guys are doing it wrong or you are doing it very well, keep on going. And so you are that lighthouse, right, for us to know if we are on the right track.
Yeah, I'm so glad to hear that.
Of course.
That's awesome. Yeah, what would you say are the biggest areas of opportunity that the roasters we work with in the U.S. aren't necessarily aware of, or the misconceptions about Peruvian coffee or Peruvian specialty coffee? Like, what is there that you don't see as many people aligning with?
I think that there has been a lot of misconceptions of Peru as an origin. And in my travels with Olam Peru around the globe, trying to bring the specialty out there has been, yes, but Peru has always been bad at this. And I'm like, you are talking about things that happened way back. So trying to change that mindset is a big challenge. I feel like many people have already closed the book on Peru, and they should try and reopen it or revisit the idea at least of trying something new. I mean, what we have to offer for the U.S. market, European or Asian market is fresh crop, right? When everybody else in Central America is off season, we are on season. And I feel that that's something that we have in our advantage, but not only because it's our time to sell, but it's because we provide you for fresh coffee that otherwise you wouldn't have. Yep. So trying to set your business in that you have fresh coffee all year round, we are that partner for you. And some people say, I'd rather have long inventory from other origins just because Peru is not going to ship. I think that was left in the past already. And our quality and service and cupping is showing that we can do it. And I think it's a lot of trust that needs to be rebuilt. But when you have the right partners or origin, I think it's worth the shot.
Yeah, I think so. What about like boutique coffees, micro lot qualities and variety separations and single farm coffees? Are these things that you work on? I mean, you must be so busy doing so much volume as OFI, as like with so much commercial reach, right? Are these things that are appealing to you to do? Are you looking for roaster partners to get behind these programs?
Absolutely. That's the whole reason why I'm here.
Oh, good.
Today.
How lucky we are to say that. I hope that those who are listening can hear just how excited and available you are to them.
Absolutely. I mean, we had a great trip last year with one of your clients. And that served us very well, you know, because even with them cupping with me there at Origin, we found out a new region we hadn't before. And they immediately put down an order. They bought 15 bags of that. And now we have that visibility, you know, like, oh, there's good coffee there we hadn't seen before. And it was all because roasters came visit. Yeah. And they were willing to take the chance of saying, let's try something brand new for you and for me. And we did it and hope that we can do it again. Yeah. So if there are roasters or importers or anybody who's willing to explore new origins and new regions within an origin, we are that piece of the puzzle, right? We also want to do that, and we need your support for that.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. If we were to wrap our conversation, are there any things that you feel like I haven't brought us to in conversation that you would like to share with our customers and the roasters who are and coffee professionals of all kinds who are welcome to participate in this podcast community or as part of the followership here?
I feel like the only piece is that it's, of course, underlying all of this is please come, please visit. You're always welcome. It doesn't necessarily need to be crop season for you to come visit the operations and see that we have the supply chain, we have the facilities and infrastructure to support your business. Some people are afraid when they hear Olam and they're like, oh, this is a big monster, they don't do my business, right? They will never even entertain the idea. I think that's a myth. I think that you need to give us that opportunity because yes, we are a big company, but because we're a big company, we have access to different kinds of coffees. And your business is as important as the next guy's business. So If you ever just want to talk coffee, you want to talk Peru, I'm there.
I believe you. That was awesome. Well, Sam, I'm so grateful that you took the time, and I'm so excited at the possibilities of things that the listeners who are roasters, who are looking for new opportunities, whether in Peru or beyond. It's just, I'm so confident in what is possible for you and they together. So I'm just grateful that you took the time to kind of put that out there. And I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your SCA Expo and a safe and swift trip home. Thank you for your friendship and partnership. And let's do this again soon.
Thank you for having me today.
Of course. Of course.
You've been listening to Another Cup, part of the Exchange Coffee Podcasting Network, presented by Covoya Specialty Coffee and produced by me, Mike Ferguson. Our theme music for this episode is not a Simon & Garfunkel song. The music for El Condor Pasa, again, as always, pardon my pronunciation, or If I Could, was composed by Daniel Robles, a Peruvian musician in the early 1930s. Paul Simon put lyrics to the music in 1970. The version we are using, a bossa nova arrangement, is by Julius H. You can contact us with comments, questions, or your favorite Simon & Garfunkel song at mike.ferguson@covoya.com. Thanks for listening.
Nobody knows it.